Hello, yes, welcome. Take a seat, thank you. First question, please.
You alright there, Sean? I'm from Everton News. Just one quick question, mate. Is it true if you do get the Everton job, you'll finally be able to afford a packet of strepsils for your throat?
What an absolutely ridiculous question. Someone has called the man out of the room.
Alright, you beautiful people. Episode 6. Let's get going. Pony Pulis, playing like Pulis. And believe it or not, we actually beat Stoke in the game after our 1-1 draw against Chelsea. Can't believe it myself. First of all, though, just as we go to take a look at the goals, I do want to apologise about the camera angle. Obviously, it's not really my fault. I've struggled to find the data analyst camera that existed in FM17 because it doesn't really exist. I mean, it exists, but it's very different. So the camera that we kind of recorded, I think, 2 episodes ago in the previous episode on is kind of the camera I've been playing Football Manager on. But I realised that I had replays disabled, which is my bad. So hopefully now things like goals and stuff will actually get a director's camera replay with. So hopefully the ball will be a little bit more visible, but I've got no idea why it is so hard to see the ball this year on Football Manager. It is only a beta, so I'm sure that's something that will get fixed. So as you can see, we did actually beat Stoke. So without further ado, let's jump straight in and take a look at the goals. And I'm not really sure if it's going to show replays or not, so I might have to pause it and actually switch to the director or TV camera. That might make things a little bit clearer. Okay, so I've ended up going with the director camera. I mean, I think it looks hideous, to be fully honest, but as long as you guys can actually see the ball when watching the highlights of our goals, I guess it's a movement in the right direction, right? So, we win the ball back, long ball forwards. Stoke, obviously, very difficult opposition. Second game of the Premier League, and going away to the Britannia Stadium is not an easy feat, really. But as we can see, Knockaert picked the ball up. Hemed, as a defensive forward, finds Knockaert again, who whipped the ball in. And Solly March fired home. So he cut inside, obviously. He was playing pretty narrow going forwards. This was the Stoke equaliser. But yeah, Solly March cut inside, playing narrow instead of out wide because we were attacking. Picks the ball up in the box. Great pass from Grosser. And it was a good goal from us. Unfortunately, though, Berahino, who seems a little bit overpowered on this game, I have to admit, found the equaliser. But like against Chelsea, we somehow, in the dying few moments of the game, score from a corner. Because we're playing the Pulis way in the 86th minute. Not quite as dramatic as scoring in the 94th minute and getting the equaliser like we did against Chelsea, but it got the job done. One thing to mention is the fact that Anthony Knockaert got injured. Can we actually see the tackle? Can we see the tackle? Nope, this doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work like 50% of everything else in this beta. Yeah, so Anthony Knockaert got injured. Fortunately for us, though, the injury isn't too bad. He's already orange and he's returning to fitness with 5 days to go. And obviously, the Carabao Cup kicked in. We'll take a look at the goals. And we beat a League 2 Stevenage side pretty comfortably, as you'd really expect us to do. And obviously, the reason why it was good that this game kind of came at a good time is kind of because, well, it gave Knockaert time to kind of rest. But what it also did was emphasise that, yeah, Murphy had a bit of a poor game against Chelsea, but he got a hat-trick of goals this game. And he played 3 key passes as well. So there's the first goal. Glenn Murray picking the ball up when Izquierdo got tackled. Like I said, Izquierdo, I feel like, is going to be quite an important player for us going into this season because he gives us a slightly different pacier option up front than what we're really used to. We played with pretty much a fully rotated side, bar players like Murray and Proper and so on. but the mass majority of our players were kind of fringe players, which you'd expect us to really do up against a League Two side. And dynamics, like I keep saying it, but they feel really important this year. So it's important for me to get players familiar with playing each other so that in the Premier League, when they do come off the bench, we have them links in place when players come off the bench. We even played with two new goalkeeper in the form of Matthew Ryan, and we saw Hunamaimo, however the hell you pronounce his name, and Lewis Dunk at the back. Scalak even got a sniff, and he got an assist as well. Whips the ball in after getting the direct ball out wide in the 69th minute. And there we go. Those were the 4th goals. We look at the bottom left-hand side. Even against a League Two team like Stevenage, we only had 39% possession. Which, to be honest, I mean, it could have been better, but again, we were playing a rotated side. But it just goes to show that the way we're currently playing, possession really doesn't mean much. If we take a look at the stats against Stoke, it was a very, very even game. So those of you guys that maybe watched the first episode against Chelsea and thought, oh, he just got lucky here with the 94th minute goal. Not really, it was Chelsea. Yeah, we had 39% possession against Brighton. Against Stoke. But they had 11 shots on target, we had 8. And we eventually managed to win the game. And really, it was a very, very tight affair. But these tight affairs, if you can come out the winner, happy days. And that's what we did. And talking about tight affairs, we're now at home against Burnley. Now, Burnley have had a relatively okay start to the season, actually. Yeah, they lost away at Spurs at Wembley. But then they drew 2-2 against Man United. Now, when I saw Stephen Defoe got sent off, funnily enough, Pogba got sent off as well. I was kind of like, happy days. It means, because he's an important player for them, right? It means he's going to be suspended. But then I actually realised that he serves his suspension during the cup game against Rotherham, apparently. So we could very well end up facing him in this forthcoming game. And it's going to be an interesting one as well, because if you look at how Burnley play, or how Sean Dyche plays, it's very similar to how we play. You see where I'm coming from. So it's going to be a tough game. It's a game, though, that we really should be winning. So on that note, let's not waste any time and let's start playing like Pulis and jump straight in. So starting lineup-wise, obviously Knockaert is injured. He's not even really fit enough to be on the bench. But Murphy had a really, really, really good game against Stevenage. So he's going to start out on the right and get another chance because he obviously got a chance against Chelsea and kind of blew it. So yeah, same back four that we saw in the first and last episode. Stevens is our ball-winning midfielder. Kind of want to see him improve a little bit, and hopefully he will up against a slightly poorer Burnley side. Got to try and choose between Proper and Grosser, but I just feel like, from what I've seen, regardless of what the average ratings say, Grosser's been slightly better and is a bit more of a threat in terms of taking set pieces for us at the moment, which is going to be a very important element of this game going forward. Hamed and Murray up front. The rest is really self-explanatory. And yeah, let's take a look at what Burnley are doing. Okay, so before it disappears, Burnley, as expected, playing with a 4-4-2. It seems like Ward and Loughton are starting off pretty defensively as fullbacks. Westwood, Cork in midfield. Goodmanson, Robbie Brady on each side. Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood up front. Perfect timing before that disappears on its own, which is... It's not a good idea, is it? Okay, so team talk, obviously we're struggling with team talks. So, yeah... I'm just going to tell him pick up where you left off last time. Murphy and Grosser seem relatively happy with that. It kind of makes sense because obviously they played against Stevenage, so it makes sense for him to pick up where they left off last time. I'm just going to try and tell the players I've got faith in them. And yeah, it's good to see they're reacting positively somewhat because it is very difficult to get much out of these players given our Sunday League reputation. So, off to the tunnel. My decision to drop weird Hunamayo, German guy. Why have I left him out? I'd rather talk about the 11 on the pitch. Can you tell us why you've opted for Connor Goldson as his replacement? It's nice to see, right, that as players, we always complain about how annoying and how repetitive these press conferences are. Yet, for some reason, they've given us more of them. And they've clearly put time and effort into making them look nicer this year. It's like, why can't you dedicate that development time to something else? I don't know. He traded well this week and deserves a chance. That's enough for the editor. Speak to you soon. See you later, mate. And we can finally kick off. So on that note, we are actually going to switch back to the camera I prefer, simply because I feel like it allows me to see the game a lot better and make tactical decisions based off of that a lot better as well. So we are starting off on defensive as we always do. We could do with a demand more shout as well. 4th minute is in, and it's time to ramp up the intensity a little bit going forward. So far, though, it looks like it's Burnley that have had the only shot on target. Cork already injured, though. He's going to be their main playmaker from midfield. I'm not really quite sure what they're trying to do, and this is a perfect opportunity now. Murray needs to play in Toma Hemed. Ooh. Again, you know, just feels like our strikers do lack that extra bit of physicality there. That was potentially a really good chance for him. Goldson wins the ball back again. Hemed needs to play Murray through. But again, we lack pace on these players. But Grosser finds Solly March out on the left. And oh, it goes in. Tom Heaton scores an own goal. But the manner in which we created that goal was really, really, really satisfying. And we saw there at the end the way that our fullbacks were still, you know, with the centre-backs, and the defensive midfielder in Stevens was still holding in front of them. And that's what the structured team shape gives you, which is very different to what you'd expect on an overload mentality. But you could see how fast-paced trying to transition from defence to attack was because of the overload mentality. But those back players weren't affected by it, which was really satisfying. So we're going to go defensive, or our kind of like less aggressive option. Let's see what we're going to get from a corner here. Less aggressive option for a few minutes. Looking to protect after, for God's sake. What was that corner? We've been so good at corners, and we're going to throw it away now. Why do we have so many people forward for a corner, and Robbie Brady equalises? Oh, yeah, we had far too many players forward for that corner. That's incredibly disappointing. And Burnley have just really done us at our own game there. So we're going to switch back to the normal approach, but very narrow defending coming out from Burnley. But they're a very physical team. But Stevens has been great in midfield. Murray is going to shoot, and a couple of inches lower, and it could have gone in. Very, very annoyed by the goal that we conceded. Really am, especially at home. I'm not really quite sure why we had so many players going forward for the corner, but it is what it is. Stevens wins the ball back in midfield. I kind of feel like Grosser needs to push up a little bit more because Cork at the moment is winning most of the second balls. Barnes is going to find Chris Wood. Very patient play from this Burnley team. And there we go. Time to pounce once again. Murray through on goal. He's got a lot of defenders and he scores. What a finish from Glenn Murray. Direct play. Counter-attacking football at its absolute finest. And I've just realised, where are the replays? We're not actually getting any goal replays, are we, guys? It's not giving us goal replays, which is frustrating, which could mean that you guys might not actually be able to see the ball too well either, which also is very annoying. Okay, so we're going to switch to defensive for the next few minutes, and it probably would be a good idea. Oh, we can't actually do a shout. If we look at some of the conditioning on some of the Burnley players, they're not looking good at all. March finds Toma Hemed. Can we maybe chip the ball above? They're kind of trying to play the offside trap here, Burnley. We need to get the ball wider, though, and that's a very good save from Tom Heaton. It kind of looked like Burnley were having a dance. Go on, whip that ball in. Oh, why are we so open on the counter-attack from these corners? I need to change the corners around because this ain't on. This ain't on at all. Get rid. Right, we're going to have to change corners. Yeah, I mean, we've done all right, generally speaking. But it feels like we should be 2-0 up, not 2-1. It feels like we handed them a goal. It really does. So I'm just going to assertively tell the lads not to get complacent. It's good. We're all green. But we're going to have to go into these set pieces because it does seem like we are throwing too many forward if I can figure out how to get there. So that's the thing. 2 players are being told to stay back. But I swear to God, we've not got 2 players staying back. Can I rewatch their goal? Why can't I rewatch their goal? What the hell have they done to this user interface? Obviously, it's something Burnley away from home are trying to utilise against us. So we're going to have to just basically try and make sure we've got more players staying back. So the solution really for that is probably going to be Stevens has done really quite well in terms of winning the ball back. So we don't really need him on the near post because this guy's making a run to the near post anyways. So Stevens can be an extra third player defensively from these corners. I've never seen this issue before. Murphy's not really had a great game, even though I think it's quite harsh that he's on a 6.4 because the first goal kind of came through him. It probably was his goal, but it was attributed to Tom Heaton instead. But here we go. We're going to start the second half. We'll start it off with a demand more shout as well. And wasting absolutely no time whatsoever. We've already got the first highlight of the half. Grossa is going to find Dale Stephens, despite being a ball winner, still trying to get that ball forward, which is nice. March finds Murray. Plays a ball into the path of March, and he probably should have tried to drill that across the box, if I'm being fully honest. But, you know, it's a sign of hopefully things to come as we switch to our normal approach. Murphy's already dropped down to a 6.3. Question is, if we are going to take him off, who's the player that's going to come on? March wins the ball back. Goldson to Murphy, and it's just over the bar, and we should be 3-1 up. But again, I'm kind of worried with the number of players that Burnley had forward when we had that free kick. It's so obvious what they're trying to do against us right now. I think Murphy's going to have to come off, and his Cuerdo and his pace is going to have to come on, simply because he's just not had a good game whatsoever as Murphy. Sutton, to be fair, behind him hasn't played too well either. Goldson, though, has had Chris Wood pretty much in his back pocket most of this game, and Stephens has been ridiculously solid. He needs to play this wide. He actually plays it towards Glenn Murray, and March scores! There we go, ladies and gents. 3-1 the score. Fast, pacey. I'm running out of words. I'm running out of words right now. I'm buzzing. We're winning, which is nice. Okay, so we're going to go, not defensive. We're going to park the bus for a bit. It's not actually park the bus. I mean, I've called it park the bus, but we're on a bloody overload mentality. But it just helps us solidify ourselves and tighten up now. We could potentially see some changes kick in as well. 65, 66. I don't actually see much reason to change from our kind of, really nice play there from March, from our kind of current approach, simply because we've got a 2-goal lead. So we can afford to sit back a lot more now, particularly the wingers now that they're going to be on support. But we still have the front two, so we can counter-attack exactly like this. Wall one back in midfield, ball one back in midfield, and Tom Ahmed there has got to put that ball in the back of the goal. So time to bring on some fresh legs. Now I want to take Stephens off because he's not exactly fit, but I'm actually going to leave him on because he's played very well. Sutton has been underwhelming so far today, and in terms of other substitutions, if I was going to do anything, I'd probably swap Hamed around, or maybe give Proper some game time in the middle of the park. Yeah, we'll give Proper some game time, some proper game time, in the middle of the park, and see what that does for us. But once again, tell the lads to tighten up. You look at the match stats, very even game once again, but why have we got 2 sets of match stats? I don't know, but the point is, obviously this kind of approach, it's about quality over quantity. It's about staying solid at the back. And truth be told, bar the silly corner routine, we've been incredibly solid, and that goal is just wonderful to see. Great cross from Izquierdo, especially out on his left foot, given he's right-footed and injured. Absolutely diddly squat the Burnley defence could do about it. And Glenn Murray, well, you know, I said, I think a few episodes ago that he's not really much of a target man, but to win that ball there was really, really satisfying. Stephens once again wins the ball back. Are we going to make it 5 against Sean Dyche's Burnley? My inner Blackburn Rovers fan is incredibly enjoying this. Izquierdo shoots, that's a bit of a waste, but you know what? After getting that assist on the left wing, he deserves credit for it. And with 50 seconds to go, Krull is going to pick the ball up, and I think it's safe to say, guys, that playing the Pulis way has resulted in a result that I'm more than delighted with. I really wish, if there's not going to be a goal, if they can just take us to the end of the game. I'd rather they just tell me the game has ended at 4-1 than make me watch Burnley try and pretend they're Barcelona. I've been really surprised by how undirect Burnley have actually been throughout this entire game. They really didn't create much. I guess getting 2 injuries didn't help them, but what was really satisfying is to see Glenn Murray get 2 goals as well, because I don't really feel like he's a Premier League standard player. And obviously we disabled the transfer window, and I disabled it on purpose to make life more difficult for myself. But what a result, and such an important result as well. It means that so far we're undefeated in the Premier League. We're top of the Premier League, which probably won't last, but it's nice to see it there. And it means that we drew our first game against defending champions Chelsea. We beat Stoke 2-1, and we just beat Burnley 4-1. So, unbeaten 3 games into the Premier League. Considering we've just got promoted from the Championship, absolutely delighted. So I will tell the lads I'm very happy with the result and how they played. They've reacted positively. Izquierdo's looking complacent, but that's probably why he's not a starter just yet. And I probably am expecting Knockout to make the starting lineup for the next game as well. So, ladies and gents, Izquierdo is out for 2 days. Murray puts in a classy performance. Pony Tulis' Brighton are top of the Premier League on goal difference, with a better goal difference than Tottenham Hotspur. And on that note, I bid you farewell, and I guess I'll see you guys for the Huddersfield match in the next episode. So, obviously, we got Exeter in the Carabao Cup, which is kind of a good draw. A lot of people might argue and say, you don't really need to worry about the Cup right now. Just focus on staying in the Premier League. But given the way dynamics currently work, that's actually really nice to see that players like me more. But yeah, all I can do to try and improve the managerial support for me is just try and win as many games as possible. Obviously, Swansea and Bournemouth are going to be 2 very difficult games, especially Bournemouth with some of the pace that they've got. And I'm hearing rumours that Jermaine Defoe is as good as ever on this game this season. But, you know, if we can get some 2 solid draws and remain unbeaten against Swansea and Bournemouth and then get a win against Exeter, it just keeps morale high. And when morale is high and the dynamics are improving, hopefully our long-term results will improve as well. So, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments how you think we've done so far. Still disappointed in the manner in which we conceded the Burnley goal, but see you next time.